Matt Bevin is on with us. I hope to be saying the good senator, Matt Bevin, from the state of Kentucky. He is running against Mitch McConnell. And we have had him on the program once before. We liked him. We thought we would have him on again. Welcome to the program, Matt.
Thank you, Glenn. A pleasure to be back with you. So
can you tell me any thoughts on this $2 billion gift that Mitch McConnell definitely didn't have anything to do with?
Oh, when you have Dianne Feinstein coming out and running interference for you as your cover, something smells a little fishy there. Here's what I'll say. This was specific to a project, the Olmsted Lock and Dam Project, which is in southwestern Kentucky, out in western Kentucky, and it's a critical project. It is a project that needs to be completed. But the methodology for this $2.8 billion, just stinks. This is not how funding is supposed to occur. Sweeteners, kickbacks, whatever you want to call them, should not be a part of these sort of processes where we are saving the American people, supposedly, from some manufactured crisis, and in order to make that happen under the cover of darkness, favors at the taxpayer's expense get bantied about.
So how do you think people in Kentucky are going to feel about this? Because you have to worry about it in Kentucky, but the rest of the country, I have to tell you,
pretty ticked off, probably.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I live in Texas, and I care about Kentucky. I was just in Louisville. It's a great state. Good people live there. I don't want any harm to come, but I have to tell you, when you do something in the cover of darkness and it's a kickback, we just got screwed. And we're looking at Kentucky, and not really Kentucky, it's Mitch McConnell. But how will this play back with you?
It's a mixed bag in Kentucky. Obviously, it will lead to some employment, but these people are already employed. This is a project that's already continuing. It has been going on, and like every other government project, it would seem, the cost overruns have been exorbitant. The time delays have been exorbitant. And it's another example of where the more involvement on the part of the federal government in particular, the more convoluted and expensive things are, and the more it's disadvantageous for the American people.
Matt, you had to be moved, though, by how much Dianne Feinstein cares for your fellow Kentuckians. You had to be moved. You must have wept. You must have wept. Now, let me ask you this. You just received a pretty major endorsement, and this is pretty important. Can you tell us what just happened for you?
Yes, I just, within the last hour, received the endorsement of the Senate Conservatives Fund. This is Jim DeMint's old group. Awesome. It's now run by a gentleman by the name of Matt Hoskins. And I cannot tell you how exciting this is. I had previously received the Madison Project, was my only other significant national endorsement. And so this is a very significant additional endorsement. I'm very grateful.
And something you're going to need, because the primary is coming up in May, so you got to raise money pretty quickly.
Correct.
And,
yes.
and how, if somebody is moved to do so, how do they contribute?
They can reach out to mattbevin.com. It's MattBevin.com, and there they can see whether they know enough about me to even want to. But certainly, the contributions are critical when running against a guy for whom money and his corporate partners.
Yeah, he's got $6 or $7 million in the bank right now.
And John McCain and everybody else, they're going to all fly in. I wouldn't be surprised if the president himself didn't fly in to campaign for, and I mean that sincerely. I mean that sincerely.
It's his new best friend.
Yeah, no, he is.
I will. BFFs.
So we have now 3 months. We bought 3 months on the debt ceiling.
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything. I just have this from the Wall Street Journal. Expectations that the Federal Reserve will have to keep its easy money policies in place longer now, push the dollar close to its lowest point of the year against the euro and U.S. Treasury debt. They are, this whole printing money, digitizing money, it is going to come to an end sooner rather than later.
And it won't be pretty.
What would your plan be? What do you tell the American people? What would you do?
We have got to wean people from this idea of free lunches. And it's free lunches at a scale the likes of which literally nobody can afford to pay for, because there is no free lunch. And what we're doing is we're sticking it to people. This artificially deflating interest rates and keeping them artificially low is coming at the expense of those people who saved their money, who did things the right way, who expected to get 4, 5, 6% perhaps, and are now getting 0.1, 0.2%. And we're doing it in order to accommodate the ballooning debt and the interest payments, and we're sticking it to the people who have been responsible in order to cover for those who have not. What we need to tell the American people is that the party's over. And while that is painful to hear, austerity, we have no idea what this is going to look like if we don't start walking that dog back soon.
So what do you do in 3 months? What would you do? If you were in the Senate, what would you do?
I would hold out as a Republican, even in the minority. I would just hold firm. I would unite the caucus as to the absolute degree. The liberals, I must say, are fantastic at uniting even when they disagree behind something. We must hold out for...
They will say, let me just play this devil's advocate with you. Yes. They will say, well, then you're going to have the whole thing blamed on you, and then you'll never win another election ever again in your life.
That has been working brilliantly thus far, which is why the Republicans have been folding like sock puppets. You know, it's remarkable. Yep. But we have got to stop spending 40 cents of every dollar, Glenn, that we are spending now in this country is still borrowed money. Plus, we're twisting. I love it. We always, whether we're quantitatively easing or twisting, we have some cute little name for what we're doing in terms of printing money, and we cannot continue down this path. We must hold firm for cessation of increase in debt. We cannot dig deeper into a hole that already it's questionable as to whether future generations will be able to climb out of.
What is the most breathtaking breathtaking moment against the Constitution you have seen from this administration or Congress in the last 4 years?
I think the one that's been most collectively breathtaking of late has been the overreach and the encroachment on the Fourth Amendment by the NSA. And again, the Patriot Act, again, another one of those cute, clever things. Who wouldn't want to be for the Patriot Act? But this thing has turned into the most onerous overreach on the part of the federal government, spying on law-abiding citizens in direct violation of the Fourth Amendment. And I think the outrage is appropriately across the entire ideological spectrum, and for good reason.
The IRS is now involved in healthcare.
That's a good... My gracious. Because they're so good and so efficient at what they're already doing, it only makes sense that we would put them in charge of this.
Matt, I appreciate it. I appreciate you talking to us, and congratulations on the endorsement from the Senate Conservatives Fund. We talked to some people in Washington, D.C., and while they hadn't actually spoken to you, they said they had spoken to some people who had, and said that the one guy, how did he phrase it, Pat? It was the one guy who has the best handle on the Constitution of anyone that he knows. Was that something like that?
Like that.
That's a little too gracious, but I'm appreciative.
Well, I just want you to know that if you do win and you turn into Mitch McConnell,
it won't happen.
Well,
I can promise you that it will not happen.
No, don't promise. Don't promise anything. Just make it happen. And Marcus. Do you know who Marcus Luttrell is?
I do not.
You don't?
That's great.
I don't.
You should learn. Who Marcus Luttrell is. You'll find out a new movie coming out, Lone Survivor.
Okay, I'll make a note of it.
He is one of our nation's real heroes and a good friend of mine. And he was tortured in Afghanistan horribly, and a real hero. And I said to him, I don't think I could hold out, Marcus. I mean, they don't feed me for like 4 hours, and I'm starting to sell my children down the river.
You actually did sell one child when we were to bring you a Twinkie.
I was like, I want a Twinkie, please. But I said, I don't think I could make it under torture. And he said, then you'd have the best chance of survival. And I said, what do you mean? He said, it's the people who say, I'm not going to break. I'm fine.
Yep.
They haven't really thought about what it's really like. So please change the answer. I'm going to do the best I can, and I'm going to live it day by day to not disappoint you.
That I will commit to.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and we'll talk again.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
MattBevin.com. MattBevin.com. Running against Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who must go.